everyone, and welcome back to the Bods. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. You join me today for a review of set 910027, the Bricklink Designer program Mountain View Observatory. Now this one is 3,889 pieces. It's got 11 minifigs in there, and it was £180 in the UK and $250 in the US. You obviously can't buy it anymore unless you go on the secondary market, so hopefully this review will help you decide whether that decision is worth it or not. Now, this is the 6th Bricklink Designer program set that we have built, and I have to say, it's my favourite. It was Ian's decision to buy this one. He thought it looked really good, and I was just really excited about the Winter Chalet, if I'm honest, so I probably didn't look as thoroughly as I should have. But this one really fits like the modular style build. The only problems you do have if you're trying to integrate it with your modulars is that this is entirely on plates at the bottom. There's not a base plate in this. So the build itself is 36 by 32 as opposed to 32 by 32. And that is because on this side here, you've got like a pull-off panel that is sort of rock work. So if I spin it around so you can see. You've got a tree and quite a lot of rock work. And it does look good with that addition. But I guess you could leave it off if you want it to be 32 by 32. And then you could build it directly onto a base plate. So you have a lot in this set. You've got all the rock work and 2 trees, a little bit of a waterfall, some steps, and then 2 full levels of interior building. A sort of level here that's not all that well filled out. And then the top of the dome itself. The dome fully rotates. It also has a play feature that the telescope itself moves up and down. These panels can close. I'd say they're a bit finicky. They don't really stay where they should, but with some careful handling, they're not too bad. And then there is a red light as well at the back to sort of light it up. I'm not sure why there's a red light, why you need a red light in an observatory. I'm no observatory expert, so there's a lot of stickers in this set, but they do add something. I quite like these banners and the really big sign that's for Mountain View Observatory. Just gives it some nice identity. I would say the tree builds themselves are really hard to follow from the instructions because you don't have paper instructions, and I can assure you that these 2 trees are not built correctly, and in fact they've fallen off a few times and I've had to just sort of rebuild them, so they're a little bit fragile. But once it's in the city, if you're not going to be moving it, it's probably not too big a deal. So one of the biggest downsides of this set is the odd choice that these burp pieces, there's 3 of them, maybe 4 of them, are not actually burp pieces. That was my biggest frustration. It took ages to build them out of ordinary parts, and I really don't understand that decision. Ian was saying that there is no way that that's a more cost-effective way of doing it. That's far more parts. It would have cost a lot more. So maybe there was a limited palette that they were given and they couldn't use burps. And obviously the person who designed this had already used burps and so just straight swapped them out for pieces. So you'll find that quite a lot of those 3,889 pieces are in these burps, and obviously in the dome if you look at all those cheese slopes as well. I would say this is definitely a great parts pack if you love cheese slopes. There's so many cheese slopes in this set. So I've mentioned the dome being hard to open and the fact that there's a red light, but there's not really much that it's adding. But the only other downside that we have is these little chains here, and they are fully taut on there. They ping off quite often and they're really hard to attach. So I feel like there could have been a better way of maybe adding those railings. It's just not worked out well, and Ian found that very frustrating to build. So let's get into the inside of the observatory so we can see all the details inside, and there's a lot of them. So this is the basement level of the observatory. You can kind of see that someone hangs out here and does all of their work. So they've got massive sort of supercomputer. That's where a majority of the stickers have gone. I'm going to guess the guy who works in here is called Tom, because you've got Tom's stuff here. He's got a little desk that isn't overly attached right now, but does attach on. He's got some lockers, I guess if there's other people that work, or places to keep things. Another little comfortable seat over this side. And pictures on the wall. A little bit of translucent brick there to let some light in, although it's mainly covered up by the stairs. And you've got a similar one on the side near the tree. Again, probably doesn't let much light in. Then you've got an engine room down here. That's full of lots of gadgety type things. It says do not enter, authorised personnel only. So that's well kitted out in there as well. Lots of dials. Then you've got a nice sticker on the side over here that is talking about UFOs and aliens. So the next level down you've got an actual museum, sort of a space museum. So you've got a lot of stuff in here. Lots of things that fall out, not attached. I always find that frustrating, but nice little details. Over here is the ticket office. Got tickets, little till, whole load of drinks that you can purchase. I guess we're restocking the vending machine over here. I think this is one of those things that, like, that's the sun and then the planets sort of around. Water cooler, coffee machine. And so here's the exhibition over this side. So you've got a little spacesuit, bookcase. Inside the cupboards you've got newspapers and things, a little space rover, a little model of a spaceship, lots of things to see. And then to get downstairs to that level there is like a little keypad to get in with a door, so that's nice and secure. And this is the main entrance. It's not a very grand main entrance, I feel. And you've got another spacesuit as well. Oh, and I want to say a tiny Saturn V, but it's probably not the right colours. The next level up is well tiled outside. This is the area that you would go for just viewing the mountain. Got a little telescope here, some binoculars. And again, not exciting, the exit out is just a sort of standard door. There's not really much in this level. You've just got this central column, which is kind of bee coloured, stripy yellow and black. Got a small whiteboard with some information on it. It allows the dome to rotate. And Ian said that this was definitely a part that he reckoned Lego would have done a bit more substantial work on, instead of it just literally just sitting in. So if I show you, you've literally got one of those shoe pieces, and that just fits in that hole and spins freely. Like so. So the dome does open itself. So you've kind of got this sort of fits on the top, but you've got to be careful with it, otherwise you can completely break it like I just did. So you've got the big telescope in there, some more sort of small details, lots of just printed pieces on the walls. Little machine in there with lots of colours, no idea what that's meant to be. And then you've got the top level, which is super fragile, so I've just put it back together. And these can't go too far apart, but they can sort of wiggle a bit too much and just completely collapse. So next up we're going to look at the minifigures from the set. You've got a good variety of torsos and heads and legs. Nothing amazingly major, although this one, I don't think I've seen this pair of legs before with sort of the splatters on. You've got a couple of alternate faces there as well. But again, they're just sort of generic minifigs. You've got the two minifigs inside the set that I already showed you, the spacesuit and the blue spacesuit as well. And then you've got a small family that I guess are heading to the observatory for a day trip. I think also the little girl that was in the previous selection is included here. So mum, dad, two small children, one baby. Always love to get a baby in a set. But again, nothing special, just minifigs. Just the one alternate head, and then I should point out that they do have a space torso. I mean, it's not an exclusive torso, but it's nice that they've got some theming in there as well. So overall, a really detail-packed set, and even though I don't necessarily know what all the details are, it was a joy to build because there were so many details. I love building details in sets, so I do recommend it for that. I think they've packed it out really nice. Ian didn't enjoy the balcony level of the floor purely because there are very few details in that level and there's a lot of tiling. The rest of the levels aren't tiled at all. They're just sort of studs for carpet, so it's not as annoying to do. It does look beautiful. I can definitely see it in a city. Obviously, it's a mountain view observatory, so does it need to be on the mountain or have a view of the mountains? I'm not 100% sure. I have no idea where we're going to be putting it in our city, but we're going to hope to get it in as soon as we can. So is it worth spending the money on the secondary market to get it? I think so. I really like this set. I would recommend it wholeheartedly. Definitely my favourite of the Bricklink Designer programmes. The only tips I would give you is, 1, get some burps ready to sub out all those parts so you don't have to faff with the burp creation, because that isn't fun. And 2, maybe consider putting it on a base plate, because that will make it slightly more compatible with your city levels if you've got things like modulars and stuff. So let me know in the comments below what you think of the Mountain View Observatory. If you like Bricklink Designer Programme sets, then I'll link up our Bricklink playlist at the end. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an update. See you later!